Welcome back to the deep dive. We have a massive stack of sources today, and they're all focused on a single mission for us.
Yeah, a really focused one.
We're tearing into the strategy, the claims, the whole methodology of this one very successful organization that calls itself an AI marketing agency.
And this is a deep dive that's really tailored for you, the listener, because this agency, they aren't just selling services. It's more like they're selling a whole philosophical shift.
A shift? How so?
They're promising to take businesses, some of them starting out super local, and then launch them to, global reach. And they do it using what they call a scientific and creative approach.
Okay, but here's the headline. This is the claim that really grabs you. They promise to eliminate that crippling feeling that digital marketing is just expensive gambling.
Right. That feeling of just throwing money at a wall and hoping something sticks.
Exactly. They claim their data-driven methodology guarantees success. We absolutely have to unpack that.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to really dissect that guarantee. What is the precise methodology they're using? The 4 steps, their whole toolkit, the philosophy behind it.
And what it could mean for your business if you're trying to adopt a similar structure.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into it. When you hear AI marketing agency, your brain immediately goes to automation, scale, maybe even a little bit of a cold robotic approach. But their core identity, and we see this all through the sources, it hinges on this really fascinating contradiction.
It really is the central tension of their entire brand. They are AI-driven, yes. They use tech as an engine for, efficiency and better targeting, but their whole philosophy is actually built on human connection.
And long-term commitment.
That's
sustainability.
Exactly.
I have to push back right away, though, on that huge claim.
Yeah.
Guaranteed success. How can any marketing agency, I don't care how good their AI is, guarantee remarkable results every single time?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Marketing depends on so many external things. Market forces, what your competitors are doing, budgets. What do the sources say about the fine print on that?
Okay, so that's the critical question, and the sources do clarify it. The guarantee doesn't come from being able to predict the future. It comes from implementing this closed-loop system, one that eliminates unnecessary risk.
All closed-loop systems.
Yeah. So they guarantee success because they define success as continuous, measurable improvement that's guided by data. So if the first thing they try doesn't hit a benchmark, the analyze and adjust phase just kicks in immediately.
Okay. So the guarantee is for the process, not necessarily the initial outcome.
Precisely. The process itself will lead to success because they mitigate failure so early on.
So it's not a guarantee of instant millions. It's a guarantee of continuous adaptation and, I guess, accountability. That makes so much more sense. It shifts the focus from a magic wand to a disciplined process.
Exactly. And that disciplined process commits them to long-term goals. Just look at what they prioritize. It's top-notch service, total accountability at every step, sustainable growth strategies and solutions that actually last. They're playing the long game.
And what are they avoiding? The sources are really explicit here. They avoid AI-looking stories, being pushy, dropping the ball, or just focusing on those short-term, unsustainable strategies.
It sounds a bit like an anti-AI stance coming from an AI agency.
Certainly does.
And that just highlights this human element they keep talking about, which they argue is absolutely essential. They seem to recognize that if you rely too heavily on auto-generated content or purely automated strategies, you can, lose that connection with your customers.
So what's their claim? How do they balance it?
Their claim is they use AI to find the right audience and the right time to reach them, but they draw emotions from that audience with stories. Unique, crafted narratives that understand human feelings.
It's the difference between that, mass-produced, predictable content that an algorithm thinks you want versus a genuinely unique, compelling story that's just delivered with algorithmic precision.
That is a perfect way to put it. It's technology powering humanity's storytellers, not replacing them.
And that kind of bespoke narrative, it must demand a highly structured, bespoke process. They're really adamant that there are no shortcuts to successful digital marketing.
Which leads us right into the 4 pillars of their methodology. They've structured this whole thing like a scientific experiment, moving away from that gambling feeling and toward repeatable results.
And the stages are research, strategy, execution, and analyze and adjust.
This is the absolute backbone of their whole operation. It's what separates them from agencies that, just run some ads for you and call it a day. Let's start with research. They call it to know is to deliver.
Okay, but most agencies claim they do research, right? They look at the competitors, the target audience. How is this agency's research phase any different, especially with their focus on AI?
Well, it's about the depth and that promise of no copy and paste.
Right.
They start from the idea that no 2 businesses are identical, not even in the same market. So their AI models, they're designed to ingest and analyze, every detail.
Every detail. Like what?
The business's internal strength, the granular behavior patterns of the audience, specific weaknesses of their competitors, the best path for growth. They stress that no data is insignificant.
So they're looking for that tiny proprietary edge that a standard competitive analysis would just completely miss.
Exactly. The AI is kind of like a sophisticated vacuum cleaner, just sucking up every possible data point to create the clearest possible picture of the entire playing field. And that clarity is what eliminates the risk.
Okay, so once they have this hyper-clarified data set, we move into step 2, strategy. I'm guessing this is where the art meets the science.
That's a good way to put it. You're moving from abstract knowledge to an actionable, customized blueprint.
And when we say customization, what's actually in that blueprint? It's not just a media plan, is it?
Oh, it's much deeper. The strategy phase is all about designing a unique digital marketing path for that specific business to hit its own unique goals. And crucially, this is where the unique story gets crafted.
So the data informs the story.
Precisely. If the research shows that the target audience is really motivated by, say, environmental impact, the strategy dictates that every piece of content, every Facebook ad, every email, it all has to reinforce that specific resonant narrative. The strategy sets the direction, so you're not just wasting money chasing trends.
I see. The data informs the story, and the strategy dictates how and where that story gets told. That brings us to step 3, execution, which they call start the show.
Right. This is the seamless implementation phase. They argue, and it makes sense, that the best strategy in the world is worthless without flawless execution.
And this means deploying campaigns across all the channels.
All of them. Running the paid advertising, Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, creating the content, optimizing the website, even handling the technical hosting to make sure nothing crashes. This is where the rubber meets the road, and you start to see those initial leads come in.
But, the market can move so fast. A competitor launches a huge campaign, or a social media algorithm just suddenly changes overnight. That flawless execution can get flawed pretty quickly.
And that's exactly why step 4, analyze and adjust, is so critical.
It's the key to the guarantee.
It is the defining stage of their whole guarantee. They totally acknowledge that digital marketing is a continuously moving target. So this stage is a perpetual loop. They're constantly monitoring all the campaign metrics, analyzing the evolving trends, and then using those insights to refine and recalibrate everything.
The goal is just relentless improvement.
Relentless improvement, keeping the brand relevant and successful and always driving up that ROI, the return on investment.
It makes perfect sense. An adaptive strategy is what turns a potential failure into just a learning opportunity.
Good.
But to execute a sophisticated 4-step process like this across every medium, you need a massive infrastructure. They boast, we could do everything.
And their service list really reflects that full range claim. They want to control every part of the funnel, which is key to maintaining those guaranteed results. We should probably break down the foundational services first.
Yeah, for anyone listening, when we talk about this toolkit, we need to understand how these services fit together strategically, not just, what they are.
Agreed. So let's start with SEO, search engine optimization. This is fundamental. It's the slow, steady work of making sure your website shows up high in search results.
Right, crucial for that sustainable, low-cost organic traffic. But it takes time.
A lot of time. And they integrate it with content marketing. That's creating the persuasive, informative stuff blogs, videos, guides that builds trust and strengthens your authority, which in turn makes your SEO efforts way more effective.
Okay, so SEO is the foundation, and content gives people a reason to stick around and trust you. What about the immediate customer experience on the site itself?
That falls under web design and development, and this isn't just about making a site look pretty.
No, it's about making sure it's responsive, fast, optimized for conversions.
Exactly. If your website is slow or confusing, all the traffic you get from SEO or paid ads will just bounce. It totally destroys your ROAS, your return on ad spend. And they also manage website hosting, so the technical side of things never fails the strategy.
Okay, so that's the foundation.
Yeah.
What about direct communication and more rapid growth? That gets us into paid ads and outreach.
Absolutely. So they function as a full advertising agency, specializing in paid search, or PPC, which is critical for getting those immediate conversion rate increases.
PPC being pay-per-click.
Pay-per-click, right. And that's balanced by social media marketing across all the big channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. These are the places where they can distribute those unique emotional stories that they crafted back in the strategy phase.
And coordinating all that requires some serious expertise. Things like specific Google advertising knowledge to make sure the brand is dominant on the world's biggest search engine, and targeted email marketing to nurture those leads over time. It really is a complete ecosystem.
And if a client is already doing their own thing, they also offer consultancy. It's part of their accountability structure. They want to understand what's not working before they come in with solutions.
That's comprehensive. But we keep circling back to this idea of quality over quantity. A full toolkit that generates a mountain of traffic is useless if that traffic doesn't actually buy anything.
And that's why they emphasize intentionality in lead generation.
Right. They explicitly claim we make every single lead count.
And this is, I would argue, the biggest differentiator from traditional broad sweep digital marketing. They focus intentionally on leads that match that ideal customer profile they identified way back in step 1 in the research.
So they're making sure those leads can actually translate into sales and real business outcomes. They're not interested in vanity metrics.
Not at all. It's all about the bottom line. Their communication style even reflects it. You talk, we do. It implies the conversation with a client starts and ends with goals.
It's purely outcome-based. They cut through the noise by asking 2 simple questions. What do you want to achieve? And, this is the critical one, what next after you reach your goals?
That second question, that forces you into long-term thinking and sustainable planning, which of course feeds right back into their 4-step system of continuous improvement.
Okay, before we move on to how this applies to you, the listener, let's just nail down those essential metrics. They're kind of the language of accountability here.
Yeah, essential definitions. First, ROI, return on investment. That's the big picture, how much money you're getting back relative to your total spend across the whole business strategy.
And the more specific advertising metric.
That would be ROAS, or return on ad spend. This is surgical. It tracks the revenue generated specifically from your ad dollars, which is vital for optimizing your PPC or pay-per-click campaigns.
The third key abbreviation.
Right, where you only pay when someone actually clicks your ad. Understanding how PPC, ROAS, and ROI all work together is how you measure that continuous success they're talking about.
Okay, we've dissected the philosophy, the process, the toolkit. Now let's bring it all home for you, the listener. Why is adopting this kind of structured, measured approach so necessary today?
Because the simple reality is that the entire world is a stage, and that stage is online today. I mean, digital marketing isn't an option anymore. It's the main way to reach a wider audience, and the culture of buying things online is completely normal now.
But it's not just about finding new customers. The sources really underline the importance of strengthening the relationships you have with existing customers, increasing customer retention.
A structured digital strategy makes sure you stay relevant to the people who already support you.
And let's talk about the biggest hurdle for businesses, the cost.
Yeah, that psychological barrier.
Many business owners just assume this kind of sophisticated full-service model must cost a fortune, which just fuels that gambling feeling.
But the agency is clear that highly effective, data-driven digital marketing does not have to break the bank.
Which takes the pressure off. If the process is efficient, the cost-to-outcome ratio gets way better. How does this help a business compete?
Well, you can significantly outperform competitors who are still relying on traditional high-cost methods. Digital marketing generally costs less than, radio, print, or billboards.
But it reaches a much wider and more constantly engaged audience because, let's face it, everyone is on their phone.
All the time. This agency's job is basically to use that engagement to fight your digital battles for you so you can focus on making your products and services the best they can be.
And one final clarification they make, which I think is important, is the difference between social media marketing and digital marketing.
It's a super common mistake. People use them interchangeably. Social media marketing, managing your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, is just one single tactic.
One piece of the pie.
Just one piece. A vital tool for storytelling and engagement, for sure. But it lives under the much larger umbrella of digital marketing, which includes everything else we've talked about: SEO, content, email, and PPC advertising. The full-service approach has to manage all of it together.
This has been a really illuminating deep dive.
Yeah.
I mean, the key insight isn't just the list of services they offer, it's the mindset they enforce.
Yeah, eliminating that gambling mentality.
Through this rigorous, customized, 4-step scientific method. It's that constant loop of research, strategy, execution, and analyze and adjust that creates the accountability they need for that guarantee.
And at the end of the day, the most fascinating takeaway for me is that contrast at the very heart of their business. They are an AI marketing powerhouse, but they stake their entire success on the absolute necessity of the human element.
That unique emotion-drawing story.
Which the AI is just there to optimize the delivery of.
So here's a thought for you to chew on, something that builds on this AI-human contradiction. If an agency can use advanced tech to guarantee results, but only by prioritizing authentic, human-centric storytelling and avoiding AI-looking stories, how should you look at your own content right now?
That's a great question.
Are you prioritizing technological efficiency at the expense of genuine human connection? And where do you maybe need to adjust your strategy to find that critical intersection?
We really encourage you to continue exploring the source materials we provided, connect those dots, and start implementing that structured, accountable mindset into your own planning, today.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.